The other thing that I want to bring up that I think this is old bait and switch. To be quite honest with you, I think that it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Trump is doing a lot of talking, but in the end, I think he's trying to debate the Democrats into acting a bit juvenile, being a bit acerbic and truculent with their language. As a result, coming across as very irritating and of the mindset that, as I've said repeatedly over the last several weeks, they still sound like they're in campaign mode, still spewing the same kind of stuff that you were trying to spew when you were attempting to prevent him from becoming the 47th president of the United States of America. That ship has sailed. He's in office now, and you have to let him act, see what he's going to do, and judge him accordingly, as opposed to reacting to everything that he says. But he knows they're going to react to what he says because they think that's the kind of thing that can galvanize folks out there to see their way of thinking, and as a result, it will turn them against Trump. They are wrong. It will not work, and I think that he's playing them game. He's playing that game. We'll see if they give into it.
What's going on, everyone? So, as you saw from the intro, Stephen A. Smith is pointing out something that I've been saying. Many conservatives have been saying. Many people who objectively look back on politics and just observe politics can see, like a blind man can see, that Democrats are being controlled by Donald Trump. I'm being honest here. I think I'm joking. I'm being honest here, right? And I want to bring up a story about the Associated Press, right? They got caught lying again. Hey, how did the AP's dishonest reporting got them kicked out of the White House? Now, they try to make this narrative that it was about the Gulf of Mexico and all this stuff, but AP twisted Donald Trump's words on Social Security. Here's how AP boxed Trump's statement in a way that should be outright disqualifying for any so-called news organization. AP version on Thursday said that Trump at the press conference in Florida said that we have millions and millions of people over 100 years old receiving Social Security benefits. They're obviously fraudulent or incompetent, Trump said. See the problem? Trump never said that. What Trump actually said, Trump never claimed millions of centurions are actively collecting Social Security checks. He pointed out that millions of people in the system are listed as over 100 years old and that the government needs to investigate whether these accounts are fraudulent or the results of bureaucratic incompetence. See what the media does? And then they're going to sit here and pretend that there are news organizations. And this is why many people do not trust the mainstream media. And they do it to themselves, right? This is a textbook media manipulation tactic. End up quote early, right? Which they do a lot. I saw this with Vivek Ramaswamy. Insert meeting editorial commentary, which they do that a lot. Restart the quote to make it seem uninterrupted. This is not journalism. This is deception designed to mislead the public into thinking Trump was lying. A long history of dishonesty and why they got banned. This is the kind of thing that pisses off many critically thinking people. This is why I said the Democratic Party is not the party for the critical thinkers. It's the party for the emotional. Because it's the only way you can get away with hating Trump just because it's Trump. Oh, I can't agree with Trump because Trump is on that side of the issue. I can't be on the same side as Trump. I can't be on the same side as Trump no matter what. And many political analysts are realizing this. Check out this clip from News Nation as they discuss that Democrats have a blind spot for you-know-who, Donald Trump. Let's take a look.
You played Jamie Raskin earlier. He represents, just outside of D.C., Montgomery County in Maryland. Fine. There's a lot of federal workers who live there. That's fine for him, although that chant probably needs work. But the average person who doesn't live in and around Washington has no idea what these things are and why you wouldn't want to cut some of the waste from them. And so, no, again, you and I have talked about this on air and off air, and I think it's really important because I think it's a fundamental fact of how Democrats are positioning themselves, whether intentionally or unintentionally. They just have a blind spot with Trump. No idea he proposes can be even a good idea. Again, if it was proposed by James P. Public, Republican president, they'd be like, okay, well, maybe. But because it is him and because the loathing is so, and it is, I use that word advisedly, but they hate him.
Right.
Every idea is a bad idea. And I just think it leads to some poor strategic conclusions if your goal is, as Democrats' goal should be, getting some power back. Because they're out of power at every single level at the state and federal government.
I have another example. ABC News. President Trump's immigration policy already are affecting schools across the country as officials find themselves responding to rising anxiety amongst parents and their children, including those who are here legally. This is Greg Gutfeld pointing out step by step how the media tries to create a perception. And this one have been one of my main criticisms of liberals and many people on the left, is that they don't try to argue what's in reality. They try to argue or put forth a perception of reality. They try to get you to change your lens instead of directing you to seeing what's actually in reality. Step one, foment anxiety, right? Doing this, oh, Trump could do all these things. Trump could go into schools and deport these kids, cause the anxiety, then report on the anxiety that, oh my God, people get anxious because of the reporting that the media does, and they report on that, pretend that they didn't cause any anxiety, that this was a natural occurrence, and wonder why everyone hates the media. Step four. And you wonder why many Americans, if you look at some of the polling before in the past, many people saw the media as a threat to America. It's just baffling to me. Here's a clip that I want to get into with MSNBC or MSDNC, and they're talking about how Donald Trump should oppose Trump. But as you see, Trump's on a lot of popular ideas like mass deportations. Democrats are already opposing Donald Trump. And this is why they're losing. This is why they got Democratic fund donors withholding money from them, because they lack vision. Their only vision is anything but Trump. If Trump says mass deportation, we's like, no, we need to keep them in the country. If Trump said, let's cut waste, fraud, and abuse, Democrats will say, no, we need more funding for fraud and abuse. This is the Democratic Party. Donald Trump is the leader of the Democratic Party because they orbit around him. They're not an opposite and opposing force. They orbit around him. If he say, 2 + 2 is 4, Democrats will scream 5 because they can't be on the same side as Trump. And this advice that they're getting on news channels like MSNBC, in my political calculation, if MSNBC tells you to do something, you do the opposite. Sure, it'll be popular with far leftists, but it won't be popular with many people on the center. And I talked about this numerous times when Trump was running. I said that Trump is the centrist candidate between him and Kamala Harris. Even him and Joe Biden, Donald Trump was the more centrist candidate. And the left didn't want to believe me. The left wanted to sit here and pretend that Kamala was a centrist. No, she wasn't. For a far leftist, she may seem like a centrist, but Donald Trump is more of a centrist than Kamala Harris. And him winning the popular vote proved that. That it vindicated my thoughts that MAGA is not a right-wing movement. It's a centrist movement. It's a coalition of common sense. It's a coalition of people who want practical solutions, not ideology. But I digress. Let's get into this little discussion between George Scarborough and James Carwell.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of rules out there about how to behave when you're losing. But, the big problem is that Trump came in this second time, with a machine gun. And he fired so many shots. He said, first of all, the people that tried to kill Congress by attacking the U.S. Congress on January 6th, I'm going to pardon them all to let you know where I stand. I'm with them. That was a pretty clear statement. I'm with Article 2, not Article 1. I'm not with the Congress. I'm not looking out for you guys. And when it came time for advice and consent, which there's a whole book written about, and it was a big issue, the right of the Congress to say no to a cabinet appointment.
So he just spewed a bunch of narrative talking points, right? The thing with January 6th is that they can't say that they actually went through the judicial system with January 6th. Like, a lot of these people were being held without trial, right? A lot of these people were getting rounded up just because they were there. They had no proof that they actually damaged property or not, right? And they already served 3 years. I mean, if you're allowed to bail out your rioters, why isn't Donald Trump allowed to bail out his rioters? It's always this rule for thee, but not for me type of thing that Democrats like to do. Right? They think somehow the circumstances when they do it is always somehow different than when Republicans do it. January 6th was a riot. I grant you that. They damaged properties just like BLM damaged properties. No one died though, but in BLM people died. Opposition died. Police died. They did more property damage, but there's not this concern for the summer of 2020. Oh my God, the summer of 2020 was so horrible. Billions of dollars of property was damaged. People, death, crime was up the roof. No one's complaining. No one, not a peep. But January 6th, that only happened to Congress. It didn't affect most people's lives. But they still propagating this as if it's important. No one cares anymore. January 6th already got punished for what, 3-4 years? I think that's good enough time to serve for property damage. Leftists all the time get mad when you see videos of people shooting another person because they damaged their property. And they go, it's just a truck. You don't need to shoot someone because it's just a truck. It's just a building. 4 years for damaging property at a building? You don't think that's enough time that people should serve? And that's the argument. That's what they miss. But, they're allowed to frame it how they want.
He said, you're not going to do that because I'm going to shut you guys down. And he did. So Tillis and Cassidy and Collins, nobody talked. They shut down the Congress. He said, I'm the boss. And he just said the same thing overseas. He said, basically, let's see, I'm going to have one of my guys over there is going to say that Germany should go to the right. Germany should move to the right. Now, there's an interesting foreign policy. I haven't seen that in the 20th century, certainly. Go to the right. And that's what his vice president said. I want you to accept the AfD, join the right, put up with them, not only put up with them, tolerate and use them. Bring them forth. Go to the right. Get to the right. It's unbelievable. And then he treats little countries like Ukraine like they don't matter, Europe like it doesn't matter. He's the big boss at home and the big boss overseas, and nobody stands in his way. And I watch the Democrats and the media, too. It's very hard to take on a firing squad. A lot of bullets coming your way, all aiming at you, and you've got to shoot.
I see why he's a former MSNBC host. Nothing he said is actually practical. Nothing he said will actually get the outcomes that he's looking for, right? Because Democrats are already doing that. They're already opposing Trump at every state, every moment, every issue. They're already going out of their way to block him. So I don't understand. They're going out of their way to, rewrite what he says, manipulate quotes. They're doing, these liberals are doing everything they can, and they're pretending that they're doing nothing. Make it make sense. They're not doing enough. They're not doing enough, they says. Sending $10 million. What? These people are crazy, man. These people are crazy. Trump and Elon, they're popular, right? I don't understand where the media is going with this, man. It's just pure Trump derangement, right? You hate his supporters that much. Y'all say Trump supporters don't read. Why should we write to them?
Okay. Why would ABC, Disney, the mouse, who has more money than God, settle with Donald Trump?
I honestly don't know.
I've asked, why would ABC? But people ask me all the time, why is the media so mamsy-pamsy? And there are two explanations. One is they are convinced that if they would just move a little bit to the right, all those MAGA readers out there, now you'll notice the contradiction in terms, MAGA readers, would...
See? Is this snooty, condescending? This is why people don't like liberals. This is why I don't like liberals. They talk down to you, they're condescending, and then you find out they're the dumbest person in the room. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You find out they're the most racist in the room. Oh, you go, yeah, that makes sense. You find out they have the most prejudice out of anybody in the room, yet they act the most condescending. And they wonder why they're losing. And you wonder why they double down. Why they have this my way or the highway mentality. The reason why the media feels so hesitant in attacking Trump is because Trump's popularity is at an all-time high. For 8 years, y'all been giving him nothing but negative coverage, and he still wins elections. He's still beating your preferred candidate. I remember on this channel, I pointed out how Kamala Harris had 87% positive coverage from the mainstream media, while Donald Trump had 81% negative coverage from the mainstream media. And he still beat her with the popular vote. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, media. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. But the Democrats seem to not learn that lesson. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you feel so inclined. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.